Kuhn is the fullback with the first and goal. Kuhn gets the call. Pyle trying to make his way in for the touchdown. What a great second effort. Here comes the. Y'all don't really want it like that. Here comes the. Y'all don't really want it like that. I said so. I keep big bills up in my heart on the dirty like blood. So ain't got no twist in my head, but I'm still dreadful.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the Week 1 preview show, Thursday Night Football Countdown. The Fantasy Fullback Dive brought to you by the good people at the Road Street Journal. We're paving your way to fantasy excellence. We're your lead blocker to fantasy glory. All the good stuff. We're cracking local beers. We're going to be breaking down our highest, lowest Hail Marys. We're going to be dealing with some devastating injury news that has kept us working right up to the brink of going on the air today. It's been touch and go, folks. I'm your host, Matt the Truth Jones, of course. With me, as always, the Wolf of Roto Street himself. And we got a good game tonight, huh? I'll bet you're excited for some football.
Oh, baby, I'm so excited, Nat. We got a game with over 52.5-point spreads, points bonanza, Bucs versus the Cowboys. As I told you before we went on air, just to remind you, there are no pants on at this point. I mean that actually literally. I know some people make that as a joke, but there's none on. It is just go time. We are here. Week 1 is here. We, of course, had to have some wild, crazy stuff that we're about to break down for you right before we get to the finish line. But good Lord, I am so excited for this season to be here. Nat, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling the same way. And as usual, it's tied up in fantasy. It's not even really about real football, although I do love it. But I'm just excited. All these guys that we drafted, I want to see. I want them to prove it out on the field. Yeah. I got some guys going tonight. You got anybody going tonight?
Oh, I got Evans going. I'm facing AB in all my leagues, which means he's whipping that thing out and smacking me in the face. Got Ryan Suckup, huge.
I also have Ryan Suckup.
Yeah, big dick over there. So yeah, we're going tonight, baby. We are live. I am so stoked. The action's going to be fast and furious. Facing CeeDee Lamb and AB in my biggest league. So, we're going to preview that game a little bit later. I cannot wait to dive into it.
Yeah, we unfortunately, and we're going to make sure we have a hardcore cutoff around 8:00. We want to make sure we get the mailbag, of course, and we want to make sure we're absolutely done by kickoff. So any advice we give you will be relevant, and so you guys can watch the game. Real quick before we get into it, give us a like. We really appreciate it. It helps us a lot, and so on and so forth. All right. So we have some devastating injury news to start things off, and this is the thing that kept us going, which is the Ravens decimated by injuries in the backfield. It continues. Gus Edwards is feared to have suffered a season-ending knee injury today. Le'Veon Bell, hello. People that were saying he was completely irrelevant a day ago, all of a sudden showing a little bit of interest. They lose a few more of these guys. Well, are we going to see Trent Richardson this year?
Quite possibly. A whiff of Trent Richardson could be entering the NFL again. I sure hope not. Maybe a Frank Gore returns. He's still
that's plausible.
Belongs out there. Yeah, right? So Frank Gore could have his name calling, but it just sucks. I mean, Gus Edwards was lined up for a big season, one of the most efficient runners of the last couple of years. Only him and Nick Chubb have gone 700 yards and 5 or more yards per carry in their first 2 seasons. That's pretty good company to be in. Sucks to see him removed, but now what happens? Tyson Williams up to around 75 on my rest of season big board. I know it doesn't matter. I know we're not drafting right now, but just to give you how I'm valuing him at this point, running back 30 or so, right alongside A.J. Dillon and that like high upside, ideally bench guys. But I think Tyson Williams, especially this week, is immediately startable. He rises to RB21 on my rankings this week, 31 spot boost. And Le'Veon Bell, I mean, I have him right in that same tier around Tyson Williams. He's running back 35 for me. He could end up being the guy. We don't know. He looked dead washed the last time we saw him, so there's no guarantee he's anything special or has anything left in the tank. But he also could be the best thing they have. This is a very run-heavy scheme. It's very productive under Greg Roman. He can, a Twitter follower tweeted that he could make a 4.5 yards per carry out of a one-legged sloth. Greg Roman because of how productive his run scheme is. So I believe in Roman. I believe somebody will come out of value. I'm guessing it's going to be Tyson Williams. This guy goes from waiver wire fodder just 2 weeks ago to potentially 300 carries this season. It's just insane, but it could be Bell, and hell, it could even be Devonta Freeman. I can't pretend like I have any type of inside intel there, but I definitely want to go after and get these guys because of how productive that run scheme is.
Yeah, I actually had Le'Veon Bell, and then I dropped him to pick up Ryan Suckup tonight, and then Gus Edwards tore his ACL.
Oh, so brutal.
So couldn't pick him right back up again. Had to put in a waiver claim. We'll see if I get him.
Just that sucks. I dropped my girlfriend's team. I dropped Tyson Williams just 3 days ago for Tony Jones Jr.
It was yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday, whenever it was.
3 days ago. Yesterday.
Yeah, it sucks. Yesterday, whenever it was. Trying to make it sound better here. Not good. Not good move. We're hoping to pick him back up, but yeah, Tony Jones better be the real deal because Tyson Williams is about to eat for 270 carries this year.
Is this like close to rock bottom for you, dropping a player on your girlfriend's team, lying about how long ago it was, and just sitting there with no pants?
Off. I might need to put him back on real fast now.
Right. This is a window into the Wolves' well, I was going to say non-fantasy life, but actually it is pretty tied up in fantasy.
It's all tied to fantasy.
All right, so obviously, it's all tied to fantasy, all fantasy all the time. All right, so Gus Edwards out, obviously that's the big thing. We do have some other injury news that we're going to run down real quick, and then we're going to get into guys the Wolves higher on, guys the Wolves lower on, guys the Wolves going to take a Hail Mary on, and so on. You know the segment. We've been doing it for several years. We're going to get right into it. But you ready to talk? We're
adding to this year a must-watch story for each position, and also a stash and see. Someone that might be on your waiver wire that's worth stashing, not worth playing like the Hail Marys are. So we're really beefing up those position and previews. I'm going to try to fly through them as fast as I can as well.
Okay. Yeah, we've gotten tighter with the division previews. I think we can do it. All right. Absolutely. You ready to start with injuries? Do we have a cool injury graphic, or are we just going right into this?
Oh, Taylor hooked us up. Let's show it on off right here.
Okay. Who was that? Who was that on the bench?
Dwayne Haskins, maybe?
He looked like a Washington player, and he looked like he was thrilled to be there.
Yeah, the little wiggle of the toes, I love.
All right, we're ready?
Let's do it.
All right, Chris Godwin owners, you can rest easy. He's off the injury report. He's good to go for tonight's juicy matchup with the so-called Dallas defense.
Doesn't get juicier than that. And speaking of juicy, Antonio Brown is also good to go, rounding out arguably the best receiving trio in the league for Tampa Bay and the ageless wonder Tom Brady. Reportedly, the best shape he's been in 4 to 5 years, according to Bruce Arians. Oh, baby, he's ready to lay the smack down on me. I'm scared.
I have Brown tonight, and yeah. Austin Ekeler did not practice Thursday. After missing Wednesday's practice, he did a bunch of stationary bike work. I don't know how consoling that is to any of you. It's possibly a hamstring issue. We really don't know much, except we do know that hamstring issues can really stay with you for a while. We'll let you know if and when we know anything more. I mean, when he's been healthy since 2019, he's been honestly about as good as any running back in fantasy.
Maybe sprint and pick up Justin Jackson, though, as a backup just in case. Curtis Samuel did pull up lame yesterday on a pass route. He's not practicing again today. He's been battling this groin injury that's kept him out for the last 4 months. When's he going to be out there? Certainly probably not week 1 at this point. And is that, do I hear it? Diami Brown's music? Oh, baby from the rafters. Or is it Adam Humphries? We'll find out this weekend.
I wonder what his music is.
Humphries or Diami?
Clyde Edwards, hilarious. Fully practicing, seems good to go heading into week 1's matchup against the Browns. I feel like he's a real polarizing figure. You know, it's like he wasn't awful last year, but he wasn't as good as people wanted him to be. So I feel like he's got a lot fantasy-wise on the line. It's good news for the Chiefs that he's back. Bad news for all those diehard Daryl Williams fans out there that were hoping he was going to get the nod.
There's a lot of them out there, especially in our following. And for the team that sucks probably more than any other in the league, Saquon Barkley, Kenny Galladay, and Kadarius Toney were all limited again at Thursday practice. Supposedly they're all going to play, but if you're concerned about the Giants before, and you should have been, you should still be now. Joe Judd said that they'll have a significant role for Toney in week 1. I don't really care that Jason Garrett says he's going to be very deliberate with his usage. Jason Garrett just fucking stands there and claps. Shut the fuck up. Nobody should feel any better about the G-men. I'm worried about Saquon this week.
I think you should be worried about Saquon, like broadly speaking.
Potentially, yeah.
Deandre Swift. Now, this was interesting. In the RSJ text thread, there were some rumors circulating about Deandre Swift. So I just want to be clear that we are not endorsing these rumors at all. He will be playing in week 1 as long as he can avoid any setbacks. Now, it's unclear if being charged with murder would have counted as a setback, but as of right now, Deandre Swift is not, and I repeat, not being charged with murder. That is all.
Good to note. And he is set for a full workload, according to Deuce Staley as well. Said, I'll never take him off the field. Well, he might be ripped off the field by cops. We'll find out on Sunday.
This could just be total defamation of character here. I have no idea. I don't know who started the rumor on the text thread, but his name may or may not rhyme with Bimbo Dice.
Yes, Bimbo Slice, baby. Carson Wentz, full participant in Wednesday's practice. We can stop the panic. I know there was a while where everyone freaked out about this guy and what it would mean for the Colts, and especially Jonathan Taylor. I got Jonathan Taylor in round 3 in a best ball draft at one point. Insanity. But that's awesome for everybody in this offense. Pumped to see it for sure.
Tevin Coleman won on the Jets depth chart, which is pretty much the same as being the smartest guy in the Lions front office. You've got stock in the Jets running game. Get ready to be living out of your car and dancing for nickels on the street very, very soon.
They did mention he's looking like he's shot out of a cannon, too. Ooh, Tevin Coleman shot out of that cannon.
I don't care.
Love it.
That's the injury report.
Let's get into those positional previews, baby, so we can make sure. We already got 20 sit-start questions. Keep them coming in, guys. As you can see, we're trying to be very efficient here, trying to get through it all so we can make sure we get to everything you ask. And by all means, prioritize any Thursday night questions. You want to get those in as fast as you can, so we hit those at the top of the show before this game starts.
And we got the ticker at the bottom of the screen for the QBs. We got, I think, the top 20 or 21 for each position. Just in case you're wondering, those names may or may not be the guys we talk about, but they're there. Anyway, let's talk about who you're higher on. You are higher on Jalen Hurts. You got him at 6. That's 2 higher than the so-called experts. I disagree with you. I'm just going to start the show confrontationally. I don't agree with this. I don't like this pick at all. I think you're way too high on Jalen Hurts. I think I'm looking at your tier 3. That's Hurts, Rodgers, Tannehill, Wilson, Prescott. I'm starting all but maybe one of those guys over Hurts. And I actually like the 2 top guys in your tier 4 better than Hurts also.
Wow. Well, let me tell you this truth. You are far too low on Jalen Hurts, the definition of a Konami code, a guy that ranked QB3 across his 3 starts last year. QB6 might not be high enough because he's facing off with Atlanta, but the worst secondary in the league, according to PFF, entering this year. There's nothing not to love. He's going to run all over him. He's going to throw all over him. I think Quez Watkins goes deep for a score. I think Devonta Smith is going to cook this secondary up. I know that there's some bigger, more established names below him, but that's because he beat out those bigger established names last year in a less ideal setup and a less ideal matchup. I think he's going to start the season cooking, and it's just going to continue to fire away.
It's a really good matchup. The Eagles are just terrible. I mean, if the Giants weren't so terrible, I mean, it's amazing that we're not just declaring the Eagles the worst team in the NFC East. That's how bad the Giants are. They're just awful. We'll see. Maybe this week I'm wrong to be as down on him, but globally, big picture, I'm nowhere near as high on this guy as just about everybody else. He's going to have to prove it to me in more than 3 games. All right, Trevor Lawrence, you're lower on him. You got him as your QB 16. That's 3 spots below the experts. I completely agree with you on this. I actually think you and the experts may be a little high on him, even with these numbers, but I agree that he's certainly 13 is the ECR on him. That's nuts.
Yeah, and it's kind of risky to say that against a Houston secondary that outside of Atlanta might be the second worst in the league, especially after just shipping off Bradley Roby over to the Saints. He should and could carve them up, especially if he looks like he did in that last preseason game, but we did have 2 games of just pure shit. Don't forget that the Houston Texans were the by far worst run D in the league, surrendering, I believe, like almost 200 rush yards per game last year. This offense is going to want to run as much as they possibly can. That's what Darrell Bevel did when he had a rookie quarterback. That's what pass game coordinator Brian Schottenheimer did when he had a rookie quarterback. They led the NFL in rush attempts, and there's no better team to just pound and pound and pound and pound again on the ground than the Houston Texans. So this is more of a bet that, Lawrence might not be bad. They're just going to run the ball 45 times against this horrendous Texans defense.
I'm just going to say this. I know I'm being more controversial than usual just to start off. We said, if Lawrence looked as good as he did in his last preseason game, I really feel like that's kind of it's all relative thing. He didn't look that good. He just didn't look as bad as he did in the first 2 weeks.
No, He diced him up, Matt. He was throwing some nice deep balls. I'm going to give him that. He looked good. He looked certainly better, but he did look good.
I thought he looked better, and because of that, everyone's like, oh, yeah. It's like if you were burned horribly in a fire, and then nobody saw you for like 2 years, and you came back, and you were still kind of messed up, and they'd be like, oh, he looks great.
That's pretty fucked up. Moving on. But yes, it's a good analogy. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, sure. It was what came to me in the moment. Sam Darnold, 14% owned. Hail Mary. I agree. I think he's a good one. I got him stashed in the Dynasty League.
QB 17 plus 2 ECR, and I might even bump him up a few more. He's in the best setup of his career. This will be a very clear cut. Like from week one, we're going to know, is Darnold going to be revived in Carolina, or is he just a bag of shit? It could go either way, right? There's no guarantees. He looked really bad, and a lot of it was his own fault in New York, but a lot of it also wasn't. He now has the best weapons, the best line, the best play caller of his career, and he gets the revenge game against his Jets. Like if he can't get it done against that secondary, you might notice the trend here. 3 of the worst secondaries, all no names across the board that all these guys are facing. Darnold should light these guys up if he has anything at all to assemble talent. And he might not. We'll find out. But I am more than willing, if I'm in a 2 QB league or I'm desperate for a QB1 streamer, I think Darnold really has a shot at like 4 touchdowns. And a revenge game narrative, he's got the weapons and he's got the play caller. I can't wait to see what they do.
All right, Stash and C, you like Zach Wilson. He's 18% owned. You got him at your QB 20. That's 5 spots above the experts. I understand the Stash and C attitude about him. I just am – I can't believe in anybody on the Jets. I can't.
It's hard to do. I think Zach Wilson might be the real deal. He's getting a lot of praise from a lot of solid analysts. A lot of former QBs think this kid's the real deal. And honestly, what I've seen, the ball, the way it comes off his hand, it looks the real deal. I think that defense is going to suck if I like Sam Darnold. I also think this could become a sneaky shootout. I think the over-under at 44.5 is absurdly low. I think this one smashes that and goes well over 50 points this weekend. And Wilson's going to be a big part of that. I think Elijah Moore is very much the real deal. I think Corey Davis is an amazing 1B, kind of like an Eric Decker type. And I think that's going to come out this weekend with Elijah Moore smashing and Corey Davis having a good game as well. And Zach Wilson ultimately throwing 250 to 300 yards and multiple scores. I'd even be willing to start him if you didn't have a shot at Darnold. If he's gone and you want to take a stab at Zach Wilson, I'm okay starting him, but I'd love to just put him on my bench and see, is this kid as real as he really looked in the preseason? Because I think he's going to be. I'd love to have him on my bench when we find out.
All right, must watch for the season, for the week, whatever. The Matt Stafford and McVay marriage. I agree with this as a storyline. I'm very excited about watching the Rams and seeing what can happen.
100%. The offense that they had leading the league in points with crap Jared Goff under center, like how good could this be? And Matthew Stafford hasn't been the most winningest quarterback. He has his own faults for sure. We can't just say, it was only Detroit. That's the only reason he sucks, similar to Darnold, but like obviously a much higher level with Matthew Stafford. I think that McVay clearly went out and got this guy for a reason. I think we're going to see it on Sunday night. This team could be a points factory. I cannot wait to see how these two mold and meld and whatever.
And all the other things, yes.
All of it, yes. This marriage, I think, is going to be beautiful, and that's probably my most interesting storyline.
I agree. Of the must-watches, I agree. That was my top one as well. Good call on that one. All right, let's move on to running backs. Let's get the running back ticker going. Good job. You're already on it. Nice work.
Look at that.
All right, guy you're higher on, Damian Harris. You got him as your RB 18, 6 spots above the experts. You also like Chase Edmonds, who you have as your RB 23, 5 spots above the experts. I've gone back and forth on Damian Harris a little bit. So I'm not as high on him as I was. Why? Because I don't think he's going to get all this goal line work that everybody thinks he's going to get. I think the guy that I'm actually
Mac Jones?
I don't know. I'm not sure, but I don't see him. I don't see him pounding from the one. I actually think James White is the guy that's going to maybe blow up out of this backfield. I really do.
I feel like I don't have the stats to back it up, but I do think James White has like a pretty good trend of scoring in week ones, like he does. That being said, Damian Harris was the first man up all preseason, including at the goal line, scored one from the 1 yard line. And now that you remove Cam Newton, 4th and goal line attempts, 4th and goal line touchdowns with 9 on 12 attempts. Those are all going to go to whoever the goal line back is. Ramondre Steven is a bruiser, but they're not going to give this guy the goal line work early on in the first few games of the season. They're going to make him earn it. That's the Patriots way. I think Harris is going to be a workhorse. I think they're going to be bullying the Miami Dolphins. I think the Dolphins are significantly overrated. Everybody's so high on them.
I think they're going to be legitimately bad. I agree.
I think the Pats might win by 20 this weekend. I really think they're going to come out and smash them. They're going to bully them across the line. They weren't a great run D, middle of the pack last year. I don't think they did anything to get better. I think Harris is going to be a huge part of that. I think he's going for 102 touchdowns this week. I would have him in almost every single lineup. You'd have to let us know. And as we talk about these players, let us know in your sit-start questions. If you hear something like, oh, I had Harris, he's on my bench, would you consider him over this guy? Like, probably yes. I love him. Meanwhile, Chase Edmonds facing off against an awful Titans run D that was bottom 5 in terms of points to the run. Actually, number 7, so not bottom 5, but just about there in terms of running backs. But they were very susceptible to pass-catching running backs. I think this game is going to be a back-and-forth bonanza. Two of the fastest-paced teams in the league. You've now removed Kenyon Drake. Edmonds will get the start. He's going to get all the receiving work. And sure, Connor, a good bet to plod one into the end zone, much more than Edmonds. But even still, I could see Edmonds racking up 6-7 catches, 100-ish total yards, and maybe he breaks one for a score. I think he's going to have a great day and is significantly undervalued, especially on DraftKings at 4,600. You kidding me?
Yeah, I think Harris is going to have a good season, just to be clear. Maybe a lot of it is residual stuff over Patriots running backs of old. I mean, it's just very hard to trust who's going to get used and when. Harris seems like one of the best backs to come through there in a while. I own Harris. I want him to do well, but I'm uneasy about it. Like I said, the guy that I like, not necessarily today specifically, I think James White's going to have a big year. Actually.
Yeah, I think he is too. I love James White. I tweeted out he's the most undervalued running back in fantasy. Trust me, this is not a slight on James White. I think James White could have a big day, and Harris could still rush for 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. I think the queasiness about the Patriots backfield, it makes sense. There's been years and years of it. The fact that they traded Sony, though, and now it's only a rookie behind him for the big back role, they really have always taken their rookies along slowly, made them earn their work. Wouldn't be surprised to see Ramondre come in for some cleanup duty if they are killing the Dolphins like I expect. But if that's happening, it means Harris has already had a monster day. I'm telling you that. 2 scores. Bam, right. I'm telling you. 2 touchdowns.
All right. You called it. All right. So, sorry, when I disagree with you, things take longer. So I'll try to be.
It's okay.
I'll try to be a little bit more,
give people perspective. It's
agreeable.
Good.
Lower. Guys, you're lower on. Daryl Henderson. You got him as your RB 33, 7 spots below the experts. I agree with you on that. Both Bills running backs, you got him 12 down and 11 down outside of your top 45. I agree with you on both of those too.
Look at that. I think Henderson's one of the more overrated draft picks. I don't think he's really that good. A lot of people citing PFF's #1 running back for a couple of weeks. He never looked that exciting or electric. I know in college he sure did. We haven't seen that at the NFL level. The guy cannot stay healthy at all. And he's facing a Bears defense that, it's not the Bears of old, but it's still not a great matchup by any means. I think Sony Michel's going to sneakily be the back that everyone wished they owned by the end of the season for the Rams. And I think that might even start as early as week 1. So I'm certainly lower on Henderson. I'm not starting either Rams guy, but I definitely have him out of my lineup. And the Bills running backs, this is all you need to know about them. 18 preseason plays with Josh Allen in at quarterback. They threw it on, do you remember this one, Nat?
What?
How many times do you think the Bills threw it with Josh Allen at QB for the 18 plays they had?
Like 2?
Oh, you mean ran? Yeah, they actually less than that. They ran it once. They had 17 passes. 17 passes on 18 plays with Josh Allen. That's all you need to know. That's how they were last year. They're going to continue to be very pass happy. Every now and again, one will fall into the end zone, but Josh Allen's the main goal line back there. Don't even consider either of these guys as a potential flex. And that's how they're ranked. Gross. No, thank you.
Agree. Hail Mary, Tevin Coleman, you got him as your RB 31. Now, we reported in the injuries, this is the RB1 on the New York Jets. Look out. You got him 9 spots above the experts, 27%. Is he only 27% owned? Really?
Yeah. #1 running back.
Look, he's worth a pickup. He's a starting running back on an NFL team, even if I think he's going to suck. Boston Scott, RB 45, up 13 from the experts, only 12% owned. Not bad, either one of them.
if you're desperate, especially after losing Gus Edwards and you missed out on some of these Ravens guys, I think you could do a whole lot worse than first Coleman. You guys know how much I love a Shanahan zone blocking scheme. That's what they're going to be implementing over there with the Jets. And Coleman's the kind of de facto number one. He comes over with LaFleur from the 49ers, so he's going to be the starting guy. He's looked as fast. They say he has the fastest gear among all these guys being shot out of the cannon, and nobody wants to take him. He's unowned in almost 80% of leagues. And that's nuts to me. So I love this guy. The Carolina Panthers were getting gashed all last year, and they didn't do a ton to improve their D-line. I think Tevin Coleman could be a good bet for like 65 to 70 yards and a TD as a nice desperation flyer. And then Boston Scott against Atlanta. Now, Atlanta is good against running backs, but that doesn't hurt Boston Scott because he's much better as a pass catcher anyways. They did give up a lot of receptions to the running back position last year, and Boston Scott looked great on a wheel. Like he can make some things happen. Everyone wants it to be the Kenny Gainwell show, and I think Gainwell's very exciting too. But as of right now, it goes Miles Sanders, then it goes Boston Scott, and they were in a near dead even split throughout training camp practices. I think Boston Scott has a sneaky chance at a touchdown this week as a very desperation flyer.
All right, stash and see. Tony Jones Jr., 17% owned. Jerick McKinnon rearing his, I don't want to say ugly head, but rearing his head again around the RSJ. 3% owned. How long is it going to be before Jerick McKinnon's out of our system?
This is the last bet for McKinnon. I mean, he's with Andy Reid. He's with the Chiefs. He's with
you say that.
If he can't get it done here, Nat, like this is the pinnacle of potential fantasy goodness. If he can't get it done here, there's no reason to ever look at him. That being said, he apparently has a great gear in camp. We heard that last year, I know. But he wore down last year. He's not going to need to wear down. He's not a feature back at this stage. We know that. But as a little bit of a pass-catching compliment that you split out wide, we saw him moving all over the place in the preseason. We had a little bit of an injury to Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who is expected to go, as is Daryl Williams. But this is why it's a stash and see. I want to see, is McKinnon involved at all? It's worth a bench spot to find out if you have trash to cut or you need someone to fill for Gus Edwards at this point. Let's see if he has any type of role. And if not, send him on packing. You don't have to start him. But if he has a role, if he catches 6 balls in week 1, you know he's going to be the priority week 1 pickup. You might as well get ahead of the game and just see what happens. And Tony Jones, we'd raved about him a couple days ago on a great live stream. And it's just a matter of he's the highest upside handcuff in fantasy football at this point. Latavius Murray averaged 34 points per game in his starts when Alvin Kamara went down. If there ever ends up being a true feature back, now I'm hoping nothing happens to Kamara. Like nobody wishes an injury on a star like that. But if it did, Tony Jones would go bananas. And I just want to see, what is his standalone role? Is he going to get 10 to 12 touches a week? Because he might have some standalone. It might be one of those handcuff with benefit situations. Love to stash him, see what happens. I'm very intrigued by this Tony Jones kid.
All right. Last for running backs, the must watch of the week. Can uncertain rookies, we're talking Javonte Williams, Trey Sermon, make some waves? And also, what is Mike Davis's role in Atlanta? I actually really like all of those. I'm very intrigued by how the Denver and San Francisco running games are going to shake out. I mean, I know that you have a San Francisco running game projected for almost 2,000 yards on the ground. So, and we assume some of it's going to come from Trey Sermon. He looks great. I've tried to make a couple trades for him early in my leagues and have failed. I'm also really interested in Mike Davis. I really want to know, like, what's going to happen with this guy. Is he going to be, I mean, anywhere from great to awful, and I almost wouldn't be shocked.
Exactly. It's just a matter of he should be a bell cow at this point. There's nobody in Mike Davis's way. Cordarrelle Patterson is their number 2 running back on the depth chart. Yes. Wait. Cordarrelle Patterson's number 2 on the depth chart. They did sign Gallman. I think long-term, Gallman will be the number 2 guy and a decent stash right now. But what is Mike Davis going to look like? We've seen the thighs pictures, but are those thighs going to matter in the real season? Is he going to get 15 to 20 touches a week in a pretty decent offense? Because if so, rest of season big board, he got to shoot up right there. And also, of course, week 1, like rookies are always one of the more intriguing stories of week 1. I know a lot of them start slow, especially last year, but now that we've had a full training camp, you see Javonte Williams getting like the week 3 starters rest. Are they going to really give this guy a featured role? Potentially. Trey Sermon, they're facing Detroit. Like there's going to be plenty of clock to bleed and give this guy some nice work in a real in-season game. I can't wait to see what those backfields look like, but especially how much these rookies can perform and particularly outperform the guys in front of them. Now, I don't think he'll outperform Mostert as Trey Sermon because Mostert, as long as he's healthy, is so damn sexy and fun to watch. Fast. The fastest ball carrier in the NFL. And he's in the first 2 weeks, the 2 fastest ball running back carries of the entire season. So I can't wait to see what he looks like too. But I think there'll be plenty of time for Sherman to show, hey, this is what I can do if something ever happens to Mostert, as well as Javonte Williams showing, hey, Melvin Gordon, you can get your ass to the bench. I can't wait to see what those guys look like.
All right, let's go to wide receivers. Oh, real quick, before we go to wide receivers, I got a quick question for you.
Yeah.
Do you know who do you think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers backup quarterback is?
Is it Kyle Trask? Is it the rookie?
Blaine Gabbert. We would have accepted Blaine Gabbert. I found that out today, and I was like, I wonder if anybody knows. So that's just something to think about as far as like how great we think the Bucs are. I mean, if Tom Brady, God forbid, were to go down.
Oh, don't say these things.
Blaine Gabbert all of a sudden would be the captain of the ship. Anyway,
that's terrifying.
Right. I'm just putting the fear of God in everybody here halfway through the show. All right. We're half an hour into the show. We got half an hour left. We got a couple more positions to do. Wide receivers. Guy you're higher on, and I hope you're right. T. Higgins, you got him as your wide receiver 16, 8 spots above the experts. You also like Jacoby Myers a lot. I also like him. You got him as your wide receiver 36, 14 above the experts. I'm really hoping both these are right.
And I am shocked at how low Jacoby Myers is. He's the clear number one. Aguilar is still banged up, might not even play this week, and whether he does or not, it's the Myers show. We talked about this at length on the podcast, but he's the next great QB convert slot wide receiver, and they've averaged well over 25% target share. In 9 of 12 seasons, they finished as top 12 wide receivers in points per game. None of the time have they ever finished outside the top 20. And Myers has looked the part in his lone preseason, extensive action. He played about a quarter, 5 catches, around 60 yards and a touchdown. This guy is going to be that next great slot receiver for the Pats. He's going to carve up this Miami defense that I think is so overrated. He's got to be a wide receiver 3 that should be in many lineups. And based on the East Star, a lot of people are saying he should be on benches. I don't understand that. And then T. Higgins. I mean, the Vikings were not good against wide receivers last year. In fact, they were the 5th most generous team in the NFL. They haven't done a lot to shore up that secondary by any means. And I think Higgins is going to kind of emerge as that number one. Early on, I thought Jamar Chase might have that upside. And yeah, I think the drops are overblown, and him talking about the ball being bigger today, that's going to all get overblown. I think Chase is going to still be a very, very good player. I just think T. Higgins might be that next level this year. And Chase might be there too. I don't know. I don't want to say he's not. And I have Tyler Boyd starting in my lineup, so I hope Boyd is too. I think all of them could be good. But Higgins, I think, goes for at least 1 TD, maybe 2, as that big, long body on a team that's going to move that ball with ease, assuming that Joe Burrow is healthy. Now, that's a big.
Right, your biggest concern has got to be Joe Burrow, not T. Higgins, right?
Yes, exactly. I think Higgins, everything about him, more explosive this summer, faster, better after the catch, targeted what he needed to do better. All the reports have been glowing, and I think we see it this week. He's also only 4,700 on DraftKings, smashing all my lineups. Yeah, steal.
All right, guys, you're lower on, and I'm just going to spoil it here. I mean, these guys, I agree with you completely on both these guys too. DJ Moore, you got him as your wide receiver 25, 7 down from the experts. I actually think 25 is still probably too high. Kenny Golladay, wide receiver 49, 9 below the experts. But I mean, I don't even think he even merits a mention, to be honest.
True. I mean, he's banged up. He hasn't had any time to forge a rapport with fucking shitty Daniel Jones. And who cares if you have a rapport with Daniel Jones? He just sucks. Anyway.
Having a rapport with Daniel Jones. It's what? That is such damning with faint praise right there.
Exactly. He doesn't even have one. And it wouldn't have mattered whether he did anyways. He should probably be even lower because this secondary for the Broncos is very good. The fact he's ranked 40 is maybe he's a fringe starter. Maybe he gets into your flex. No.
I don't think so.
Don't. Please. By all means, don't. He should be far lower than 40, as I have him at 50. And it probably should be even lower than that. The fact that he's ranked 10 spots higher than Myers blows my fucking mind. I can't understand that.
That's just crazy.
Right. And Moore is a tricky one, because, again, the Jets secondary, and I love Darnold this week, there's a very real chance Moore just goes nuts and goes as a top 5 receiver this week. But there's only 5 times he was better than the wide receiver 18 in 2020. That's where he's ranked this week. I'm going to bet that he has another miss. It could be Terrace Marshall, and this was without Marshall there, who's going to be a huge goal line presence. I think Marshall is going to be the sneaky best value of all those wide receivers throughout this year.
Yep.
Yeah, I've never been I loved Moore's play, but I never have loved how he's used. And maybe that's a slight on the player. Maybe it's a slight on the coaching. I don't know. It doesn't matter because the fantasy points just haven't been there steadily. And I'm betting against him this week compared to his ranking at least.
All right, as we're about halfway through the wide receivers, I want to remind you guys one more time, give us a like, give us a, love, heart, whatever, thumbs up. We appreciate any and all of those things. Gets us out to more people. So take a second and do that for us. We'd appreciate it. Hail Marys at the wide receiver positions. These are some deep cuts here. Got Quez Watkins owned 1%. Donovan Peoples-Jones owned 2%. And wide receiver is super deep. So when you're giving us a Hail Mary, you're going to have to go deep like this to make any sort of impact. I mean, there's a lot of good wide receivers out there.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine anyone's going to rely on any of these guys. It's more so, I guess, a DraftKings play with both of these guys coming in at $3K. Like they could just go bananas. I'm banking on at least one of those guys, Quez Watkins being my favorite bet, starting role in the Philadelphia offense against, as we said, with Jalen Hurts, the worst secondary in the league. He already caught a huge deep bomb. He's moving into the slot, but he can also play outside. Every camp report was saying this guy is pushing, Jalen Reagor for a starting role. And eventually he is starting anyways. They're all starting together. But I think he could end up being that number 2 to Devonta Smith and being the main lid lifter in addition to some slot work. It's not going to surprise me if he ends up being one of the biggest pickups of the next couple of weeks when people start to really wake up to him. And similar to Donovan Peoples-Jones, at least this week, he's definitely going to be a week-to-week guy. But when you're facing the Chiefs and you need points and you need big plays, this guy was among the most efficient wide receivers as a rookie. And all reports are that he has taken his game to the next level, the big breakout player of camp. Every beat writer saying he's the breakout star of this season. And yeah, Odell's back, and some of these breakouts were happening with Odell's sideline, but Donovan Peoples-Jones did enough to move Rashard Higgins to the bench and be a starter in 3 receiver sets because he brings so much more to the table than Higgins does. And they're going to be dialing up those deep shots to try to keep pace in a track meet against these Chiefs. I really like Donovan Peoples-Jones to go deep. I like him, at least one of those guys is going to catch a big, long touchdown, maybe even them both. We'll cut this clip up right after. They both go for deep 70-yard touchdowns and make the Wolf look like a guru.
Look like
is
right. So Stash and C, Terrace Marshall, we mentioned him 20% owned. Rondell Moore, we also mentioned him 26% owned. I think they're both great Stash and C's.
Yeah, and honestly, if you want to start them, I would start.
Yeah, I was going to say that might even be selling them a little bit short.
No, they could, especially over Quez and DPJ. Those were just kind of flexing. I think these guys are going to go deep and be monsters this week. But if I had a choice, I would start Marshall or Moore over either of those guys for sure. I can't believe these guys aren't 50 or more % owned. They should closer to 100% by the end of the season. Wait till you see that. I like Marshall a little bit more myself, the big body, the slot role where Darnold has the pepper. I can't wait to see if that continues to translate. Joe Brady has that historic rate with him already at LSU. I'm excited to see what that looks like this year. But also Rondell Moore, he was force-fed this preseason. There was no DeAndre Hopkins. AJ Green was out for most of those games. So I do want to see what is his role. I guess I'd be more comfortable starting Marshall this week than Moore because I'm a little less certain that preseason production, both of them killed the preseason. I think Marshall's might carry over right from the start. I want to see if Moore's carries over once Hopkins on the field. Are they going to continue to force feed this guy the rock? Because in that scheme, Cliff Kingsbury's air raid, he could be a absolute stud if they are continuing to pepper him with those little screens, those end arounds. He's so dynamite with the ball in his hands. Single-handedly took down freaking OSU as a freshman at Purdue. This guy has some real legit talent, and I can't wait to see him flex it.
All right, must watch. Is Marquez Callaway a true alpha? Great question, and I'm dying to know the answer to that. I picked him up for nothing, and he's looked pretty awesome in the preseason. We'll see what happens. How does OBJ look? Also intrigued by that. Not at the forefront of my mind, but yeah, I'm curious. In general, I think the Browns are going to be better than a lot of people think.
Yeah, OBJ's appointment viewing. I know he's been off the field for a while, and he never was that great with the Browns since he's arrived. But I just still think there is a chance him and Baker just haven't got truly on the same page. And if that ever did happen, it's still OBJ. And I want to see, is OBJ still OBJ? Or is it just maybe a decent lid lifter? We're okay after the catch. I can't wait to see what he looks like. We haven't seen him in so long. It's just that's more what it is. I'm such an OBJ lover, after what he did for me as a rookie. I can't wait to see what he looks like again. And I want him to get back to form. I think a lot of people root against him. I'm fully in his corner. I want this guy to succeed. Yeah, you don't like him. I love him. He brought me titles. I will always love him. And then Callaway, yeah, like he's going to have to shoulder the wide receiver one. This is a very tough matchup against Jair Alexander, like among the most shutdown corners in the league. So I'm not going to hold it against him if he doesn't look great this week. But let's say the opposite. Let's say if he does roast like one touchdown against Jair Alexander, or at least like gets open a little bit, that's going to tell you everything you need to know about this kid this week. I say don't judge him too hard if he isn't getting open against one of the best corners in the league as they're now true number one. But if he is looking pretty damn solid against this guy, that would tell you that he's a top 15 receiver the rest of the year. So I cannot wait to see what he looks like. Yeah, awesome. If he can beat Jair Alexander, there's no one in the league he can't beat.
All right, we want to try to get rid of the tight ends and our Thursday night football contest stuff maybe in the next 10 minutes so we can get
tight ends always are fast. Yeah, we're cruising.
It's a big mailbag.
We're at a good pace. We do have 62 questions, so yeah, we'll get through this fast.
That's kind of what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
All right, tight ends. Robert Tonyan, you're higher than the experts by 2. You got him as your tight end 8.
Yeah, I love him, and I think the one thing I want to say about him before moving on, I read a report from their tight ends coach saying he hasn't even hit his ceiling yet. Like the way this guy has shown out in training camp, he looks like a different player that could hit his next level. And everybody's like, oh, regression. You 13 times. He can't do that again. And maybe the touchdowns do come down a little bit, but what if he takes his game to another level? I can't wait to see what he looks like. I think he's got a great matchup this weekend against the Saints that were bottom 5 against tight ends. I think he finds the end zone, goes off. I have him a few spots higher in the rankings because of that.
All right, lower. Dallas Goddard. You got him as your tight end 12. That's 3 below the experts. I really agree with this. I think that Goddard is – I mean, he's a good pass catcher. There's no question about it. I think that, you talk about cheese getting nibbled all the time with
the definition of
Zach Ertz. And, someone made a point on a podcast I was listening to a day or two ago. They said Goddard is a better pass catcher than Ertz. He's also a better blocker than Ertz. So in a lot of schemes, I think you're trying to maximize these guys. They think it's going to be Goddard blocking and Ertz catching more than a Goddard owner would like.
Yeah, and that's kind of played out over the preseason. Ertz ran more routes. Ertz saw more targets. Like, I think people just assume Ertz is going away because he looked like dust last year. I think he's going to still look like dust, and he's still going to be involved and be a headache. Everybody's still ranking Goddard as if it's his only show in town, and I think we all thought that was going to be the case, and it's not. The only reason he's even in my top 12 is because Atlanta gave up the second most points to tight ends last year. So like he could very realistically catch a touchdown, have himself a decent day because of the matchup is so healthy, but that could also all go to Ertz. And at this point, like top 9 with that type of situation, no, thank you. Like a Tonyan is below him. Come on. Like that's a joke. That's a joke. Get rid of that. No way.
Right. Agree completely. That's the tight end pick I agree with the most on yours. Hail Mary, as you said, there's a lot of guys, but Tyler Croft, he's the guy with the biggest movement. You got him as your tight end 19, so really not even that viable of a starter, but you do have him 17 spots above the experts. Tyler Conklin, you've got as your tight end 18, 9 spots above the experts.
Yeah, I love both these guys. I think they're going to smash as just like potential this year's Logan Thomases. I think it's going to be one of these two. I put my money on Croft. He has a great rapport going over there with Zach Wilson. 2 touchdowns in their lone preseason game together. And all the training camp reports have been that rapport is unbreakable, especially near the red zone. And we saw that come into action. Carolina Panthers, meanwhile, gave up the Panthers bottom 10 against the tight end at number 9. Easy matchup, juicy matchup. Love it. And then Tyler Conklin. With Irv Smith going down, we've seen Conklin, like, he's a big, strong guy that, he's never really been used. They're all saying this is his chance, and he's going to try to go out and prove that, like, I deserve to be a starting tight end in the league now that Irv Smith is done. They love targeting their tight ends in the red zone. Irv Smith was destined for 10 touchdowns. Those all might now go to Tyler Conklin, who's facing the Bengals, who are number 7 in terms of points allowed to the tight end position. I think both of those guys, both under $3K on DraftKings, $2,900 for Conklin, $2,500 for Croft. The ultimate salary savers, given that both of them have very, very good shots to find a score and also potentially do more damage beyond that.
Your stash and C guys, Juwan Johnson, only 10% owned.
And I love this because he's one of those like wide receiver eligibility, tight end eligibility. He's kind of a wide receiver that you might be able to sneak in. Remember Marquise Colston way back in the day? Now, this isn't going to be Marquise Colston 2.0.
Remember Jalen Samuel?
Right? Yeah, exactly. You love to find these weird little hybrid tight ends because tight end fucking sucks.
Hey, so dude, I started Taysom Hill at tight end a game last year, and he won me a game.
That's the fucking ultimate cheat code right there.
Won me a game.
Quarterback at tight end. Yeah. But this could end up being one of those. They don't have a ton of targets there. You know, we know Callaway's a beast, but Juwan Johnson has played far more out wide than he's played in line. That's why I am way off of Adam Troutman this year. So down on that guy. Juwan Johnson's definitely the most pass-catching tight end they have there, and only 10% owned, giving you that wide receiver tight end flexibility. If you have a sketchy tight end situation, there is no reason not to stash this guy on your bench. All the reports have been glowing about this guy. Everything is Nick Underhill, our favorite beat writer. This was like his beyond Marquez Callaway, who he praised beyond all belief. He said Tony Jones and Juwan Johnson are going to be two of the biggest breakouts. And Sean Payton he'll get it done with whoever you give it to him. He is the biggest genius in the NFL from an offensive standpoint. Doesn't matter if it's Colston, Lance Moore a couple years ago. He's got his new ragtag bunch of guys that he's just going to blow up and ascend to elite levels. That could be Juwan Johnson, and you could get that at your tight end position. Stash that cheat code, see what happens, and you might be fucking thanking me forever.
I love that we just mentioned Lance Moore on the first podcast of the year. That was
great.
Lance
Moore.
Lance Moore. Last but certainly not least, your must-watch on the tight ends, Kyle Pitts. I mean, I'm all in. Right. I'm not necessarily all in like he's the second coming. I'm all in on watching this guy. I'm dying to see him play.
We saw like one preseason play. He caught a ball and then like ripped it up the field. You're like, holy fuck, that guy's huge, and holy shit, he's fast. And that's all I needed to see. This guy's the real deal. He's going to be a phenom. And I just cannot wait to see what he looks like in a good matchup against Philly this weekend. That game is going to be fun. There's so many fun games on the lineup this weekend, Matt.
Yeah.
I can't wait. We're almost there.
I mean, the game tonight's going to be fun.
Yeah, it's all lining up. This is going to be a great week one. Let's get it.
And speaking of the game tonight, let's talk about our Thursday night football contest, which you could still enter. Right?
Oh,
I mean, the stuff's up. Is it up on Facebook right now?
I believe it has. Yep. It just literally, CJ just posted it, folks.
Good job, CJ.
Good job, CJ. Like timed it up to perfection. I told them 7:45, and look at that. So let me just pull up this tab here, folks. This is our contest.
Nice.
And so
I was getting ready to weave because I thought it was going to come up in the middle of the screen. I was trying to get it just right.
Right, exactly. So it's on Facebook or on Instagram, wherever you want to follow us. I believe on our Twitter as well. Not positive there. But what we do is we post these matchups. You try to guess all 5 of them right. We've only had to give out like 10 shirts all time on this. Yep. But if you get all 5 matchups right, don't comment them on here. You got to comment them on the post. You're welcome to comment them here, but that's not going to help you win it because these comments will go away. You need to comment it on either the Facebook post, the Instagram post, or if there's a Twitter post. I'm not positive. But these are the matchups for tonight. We're going to look at the matchups real quick and then kind of break down what we expect from the game. And if you're listening to the podcast, you know this game already happened. So maybe we'll sound like complete fucking morons tomorrow, or maybe we'll sound like geniuses as we break down what we think is going to happen tonight. But we'll talk about this for like no more than 5 minutes because again,
and then we're going to hit a long mailbag.
We're going to get to all of those.
We're going to be done by the time kickoff starts. We're watching
exactly.
This game.
All righty.
All right, let's go. Dak versus TB12. What are your thoughts, Wolf?
I'm going TB12, probably the 5th worst secondary in the league for the Cowboys, ranked by PFF. Brady's going to bomb these guys. I think he goes for 4 touchdowns at least. And I like Dak in garbage time trying to the Boston accent.
Garbage time.
Coming back from behind. I think he'll end up having himself a decent day. But that's going to be because Tom Brady already had an absolute monster of a day with a banner raising Tom Brady. You kidding me? Huge day for Brady coming. Solid day for Dak, but give me Brady all day in this matchup.
I'm going Brady as well. Maybe my expectations a little bit more tempered than yours. 4 touchdowns. Possible. I would maybe say 3, but I'm going Brady.
Awesome.
Next up, Zeke against all the Bucs running backs.
I might go Bucs RBs here because Zeke obviously is amazing, but the Bucs have a good run defense. They give up a lot of receptions to running backs. I know I've said that for a few teams, and it kind of lined up this show that like there's teams that are good against the run but give up a lot of running back receptions. They actually gave up the 3rd most receptions to running backs, if I'm not mistaken. So Zeke can catch a bunch of balls. They've been splitting him out wide. He's looked all healthy. but the Cowboys are just an abysmal defense. I think they're going to get up big, the Bucs. So between Jones, the reason you don't want to start these guys is because who's it going to be? I think at least one of Jones and Fournette have a decent day this weekend. And I think, I wouldn't be surprised if Gio Bernard caught a touchdown too. So give me all the Bucs RBs, even as good as Zeke is. And even though he might have a good day himself, I'm going to go all the Bucs RBs.
All right. I'm going Bucs RBs also. Cooper versus Lamb.
I like Lamb here. I like Lamb for the rest of the season. And I like Lamb in this matchup. I don't know necessarily the specifics of who's on who for the corners, but I think Lamb's going to go down as the best receiver, and he's going to show why early on, right away tonight, why he's the number one here in Dallas.
I hate to keep picking with you, but I'm going Lamb too. I saw like one episode of Hard Knocks this year, and that was enough to make me go. That's enough to make me go with Lamb.
It's all you needed. That one like ridiculous catch in the first one, all you need to see.
All right, Gallup against Gronk. And by the way, we did just get a comment in the comments. I'll just read it, even though I'm jumping the gun. Stott says, every time I see this guy with the wolf, thinking he's Gronk, looks just like him.
Fuck off. You think you're too cool. I guess I'm going with a lot of Bucs tonight, but it's less about Gronk. I don't know if Gronk has a huge game. He might catch a touchdown. It's more about Gallup. I don't think he has that big of a day tonight. Now, maybe I'm wrong. As a third guy that's been interchangeable among everybody, he could truly blow up. I'm excited to see what he does tonight for sure. But I'm going to go Gronk here for a touchdown. I'm
going Gronk too, and I'm sorry. I'm 4 for 4 going with the Wolf.
Wow. Is this too easy of a contest?
I hope God watch us give out.
We're going to be giving away
90 shirts tomorrow or something. This one's tough. Evans versus Godwin versus AB. This is maybe what's going to separate the men from the boys here.
The three people one always is a tough one.
Yeah, well, these are tough. This is a tough three. Who do you like?
I love Evans. I'm a biased owner, so I'm going to say that right from the start. Like I'm praying for it because I'm facing AB in all my leagues. And I have Evans going in my biggest league tonight. But give me Evans all day. They gave up the most touchdowns to wide receivers, the Cowboys did. And who scored the most touchdowns on the Bucs? Of course, it was Evans. They're unstoppable in the red zone together, him and Brady. So I love Evans for sure.
I'm going Antonio Brown.
I think a lot of people are. I mean, the 4 years younger. I hope not. I hope you're dead wrong because I'm facing him everywhere. But yeah, I wouldn't be shocked. That's why I think it might actually be Antonio Brown.
I mean, it might be Godwin. Shit, who knows?
Fuck yeah, exactly. That's one of the toughest things to ever.
That's tough. So I mean, even if we're right and the first 4 go our way, man, that's a tough one.
Let's hit these for our folks, baby.
All right,
here we go. Hold on, I'm gonna pull up the one thing I got to do ahead of time is. Woo! What a beautiful animation.
That was a solid show. And let me just remind you guys one more time. Sorry to keep saying it, but give us a like if you can. We'd really appreciate it. Share whatever love, whatever currency you're dealing with. Just hit the button real quick. We'd really appreciate it. All right, let's get right into it. Jose Sierra, Jose, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Great content, Wolf. I have this doubt if you can help me. Antonio Brown, T. Higgins, Deontay Johnson, Devontae Smith, and Marquez Callaway. Choose 3 for week 1. All pretty good choices.
Great choices. I'm going to go Brown, Higgins, Deontay. It's tough for me to bench Devonta. Callaway also, but against Jair Alexander, he's the easiest bench for me. It would come down to like Devonta and AB, and I have them neck and neck, but give me AB. You get that Thursday night action. I think it's going to be a good one for him. Those
are the 3 I'd pick also. Nicholas Phillips, Brandon Ayuk with the re-injury risk, or Deontay Johnson versus the Bills.
I like Johnson at target hog. Every time he's played a full game last year, he saw 10 or more targets. Like he is their engine in the passing game. I give him. I'm not that worried about the Bills defense. They're not going to put their top corners into the slot. I like Deontay Johnson a lot there.
I like Ayuk a lot, but I think that I'm going with Johnson out of the gate on this one,
too. Boyd doesn't change that for me either.
Agree. Cody Hoxie, let's go. Football is back. Yes, Cody.
Sure fucking is. Let's go, baby. Love it, Cody.
Dylan Adams, Gus Edwards, you sumbitch.
Yeah, that sucks for all you Edwards owners. That's just brutal.
Pat Sullivan, running back 2 in half-point PPR. Fournette, Deandre Swift, or T. Williams.
Let's put it this way, Pat. I'm going to bench Fournette no matter what.
Me too.
And then we can kind of see how this is all shaking out. Do they call up Bell? Do they call up Bell and Freeman? Like, is it going to be a mess? Or is it just the Tyson show? As of right now, I'd say Tyson. But either way, get Fournette out of the lineup.
But you got to go Swift here, right?
Maybe. I honestly, Tyson Williams, if they don't call up Bell or Freeman, he'll see 25 carries against a bad defense this weekend. Like, it could be the Tyson Williams show. So let's hang on to that one, Pat, but definitely bench Fournette either way. What up, Mitch? Great to see you.
Mitch says, I grabbed Murray off waivers just in case after the Gus news.
I think that's a really good point. Like a commenter on my Twitter said, a wild Latavius Murray appears. And like, that might be what happens here as Murray just becomes the main back. I don't know. We'll find out.
Mike Schneider, Gus bus hype crashed before it could start. Yep.
Bus didn't even get out of the station.
Francisco Scaramanga, hey, first time here. Loving the content. Didn't reach for a running back in the draft, and so had CMC and Gus Bus. That's great and not so great. But now it's broke down, and I'm scrambling, relying on Mostert and now Jackson. Yikes. I don't hate Mostert, man.
No, CMC and Mostert, it's a great 1-2 punch, especially against Detroit, giving up the most points to running backs. Francisco, awesome to have you. Thank you so much for tuning in. But be excited. You have CMC and Mostert. That's a great 1-2 punch heading into this weekend. I think you should feel really
sports car for a spin, as the Wolf
You should have been starting Mostert over Gus this weekend for sure.
Right,
anyways.
I agree with that. Francisco then says, wouldn't be surprised if they get Murray too and just do all three in a committee. That would be a shame.
Very, very possible. It could be disgusting all year.
Mahmoud commenting possibly on what I said earlier. He said, I dropped like 5 bells in different leagues. LOL. I kept one though. All right.
brutal situation for you guys.
Chris India, as a Lamar Jackson owner, this could be wistful thinking, but could you see this shifting to a more pass heavy scheme given the personnel issues?
India, I'm so pumped to see you. I love Chris. Thank you so much for supporting the site earlier today. I really, really appreciate that too, man. I don't know. I think their philosophy, Greg Roman has always, there's never been a year this guy has finished higher than bottom 3 in pass attempts. He's always been bottom 3 in terms of pass attempts. That's just his philosophy. He has such a creative and dominant run scheme. And when you have a running QB like Lamar, I think it could signal like more rushing upside for Lamar. I think it definitely signals a higher ceiling for Lamar when they have less of a running game behind him to lean on. They might have to lean on his legs a bit more, but they don't have the horses to get all that much more pass heavy, especially down to his arm. I don't know if Lamar has the arm to be that much more pass happy. So I do think it raises the ceiling to India, but not for the reasons that you lay out.
The end says Dak versus the Bucs or Darnold versus the Jets. I think it would be pretty tough to go against Dak there.
Dak was on pace for almost 6,000 yards passing last year, and I know he has all the shoulder concerns, and I know the Bucs are a good defense. I'm not benching him for Darnold, though, at the end. I know Darnold's my Hail Mary, but I'm going Dak. You got to line him up tonight.
Mahmoud says, what's up, Wolf and the Truth? Pick 2, Jamar Chase, Devontae Smith, Mike Williams, Russ Gage.
Going the first 2 there, Chase and Devonta. I think Chase is an elite talent, and I'm not that worried about these drops. Devonta, I love against Atlanta, the war secondary in the league. Now, if you're worried about Chase,
I like Mike Williams, man.
I like Mike Williams there as a second play, but Washington is a good defense. They were like bottom 2 in terms of points allowed to wide receivers, so it's a tough matchup. But if you're not feeling Chase, you want to put him on the bench, Mike Williams would be the guy I'd go to next, but I go Chase and Smith myself.
Charlie Prebs, Todd Gurley to the Ravens too, man. I hope so. I got him.
God, that would just be hell.
Francisco with a good comment here. Gurley, Freeman, Bell, and Murray. The Ravens could have the best running back room in 2017, 2018.
Yeah, right? Seriously.
And come on, why is it Trent Richardson getting at least a little more love?
Get him in there. Yes.
Why not? Stud. Hey, Yaz.
What's up, Stout?
Stephanie Progan, pains me to say this, but PPR start Williams for Baltimore or Ekeler if he plays. Worried about him pulling a Julio and leaving the game after the first play with his hamstring. Yep, we call that the scarecrow on wide receiver and running back. We just are just infuriated by it. Yeah, I understand your hesitation there.
And he's got Washington, a tough matchup, but I'm still going Ekeler. I mean, this is your first round, maybe early second, if you got lucky. At this point, I don't know how lucky you were to get Ekeler. But if Eckler's out there, you're playing him. You have to, especially in full PPR. If, let's say, no Bell, no Freeman, and they just say, we're going to go out here and see what Williams can do, well, we might have to reconsider on Sunday. And I know you're a regular on the Sunday show, so we'll find out then. But for now, I'm going to lock in Ekeler there.
All right, it's 8:00, so we got 18 minutes or so to get this going.
We're going. And I think that's a good preface too. Like if you have Thursday night questions, get here early, comment on, I'll post like a stream ahead of time so you can comment your questions in. But if you have a Thursday night issue, we're going to go till kickoff. I hope we get to everybody, but yeah, I mean, we want to give people good answers too. So get here early if you have something to do tonight for sure.
All right. Jake says OBJ or Gallup, standard scoring.
I'm going OBJ. I'm going OBJ. Why are you playing standard, Beatty? That's moronic, but yeah, give me OBJ for the long ball.
Stout, if Ravens get Murray, it will not be a 3-back committee.
You think Murray could really be the main guy? Maybe. We'll find out. I think
maybe he's saying if they get Murray, Murray won't make it into the committee.
Maybe. But he got cut for a reason.
Right. Cody Hoxie, Gronk or Higbee?
I'm going Higbee. I like Higbee. Chicago's pretty good defense, but they're really bad against tight ends. At least last year they were. So give me Higbee.
Mitch Chavez starting Antoine Winfield Jr. and Shaq Barrett in IDP tonight.
Don't know a thing about IDP, so I'm not going to waste time pretending I do.
Jake says start 3 PPR flex spots.
And that goes to this question.
Oh, I was going to say, you got to give us more. AB, Chenault, Corey Davis, D. Hendo.
I'm benching Hendo there.
I think I'm going the first 3 you said.
Certainly lock in AB tonight. I think he's my favorite play of your receivers. And I'm probably going to go all 3 receivers there, especially for full PPR. Yeah, I'm almost guaranteed to do that. Yeah. And then Francisco said, I hope not. I just stashed him in case. I'm not sure exactly who you're referring to, but I hope it works out for you.
Jack Mihelich. Wolfie, love the draft guide this year. I traded Pitts and A-Rob for JT and Hawk because Gus was my number 2. Thoughts on that?
I think you smashed that. JT. Like,
oh, shit, man.
I like Hawk just about as much as Pitts. So then it comes down to like Taylor for A-Rob. And yeah, I like A-Rob, but JT, give me a break. Give me that horse all day. I love it.
Mike Schneider, this is my first season watching. Do you guys do a Sunday live before the games? The Wolf does a Sunday live with CJ, resident RSJ expert, and it's great. So
yeah, absolutely. 11 a.m., baby. Make sure you're there, Schneider.
I sometimes watch and make comments.
Medina's here. I love it.
Pasa Lobo, cheers from Panama. Looking forward to the season. Salud. Shots for you guys. Un poquito de tequila.
I'll take some shots for you tonight, my man. Good luck, Thomas. So good to see you. I love when we get our international fans here. It's the best.
All right. This seems like it's directed at me. The truth from Mitch Chavez. Between Damian Harris, Chase Edmonds, Mike Davis, and full PPR, who would you start? Harris playing Miami, Edmonds, Tennessee, Davis versus Philly. First of all, Mitch, thanks for the question. I think I'm probably going Harris here, even though I said I'm maybe a little lower on him than the Wolf. I like him. I'm intrigued by all 3 of these guys. I'm not going to lie to you, but I think I'm going Harris.
Nice. You asked for Truth's opinion. I give you nothing. No, I'm just kidding. I go Harris. Obviously, I was higher on him. Mitch probably just knew my answer was Harris anyway, so he's saving us time, and I appreciate that, Mitch.
No, but he's just trying to gas me up a little bit. It's okay.
There you go. Give the Truth a little love. I love it. I get
seriously. Francisco Scaramanga. Hey, guys, I have a choice of pairing Herbie with Wilson or Wentz in my keeper league because of the Watson situation. Any thoughts on that?
Is it Zach? I go Zach Wilson either way. I mean, obviously,
right. I misinterpreted that the first time too.
If it was like Russell Wilson, you wouldn't be asking this question, right? I think Zach Wilson over Wentz. Like Wentz might have a game here or there with the Colts, but Wilson has a long-term potential history. So yeah, keeper league especially. Give me Wilson. Give me Herbert there. All
right. Nick says Damian Harris, Josh Jacobs, Mike Davis, half PPR. Got to choose 2 of them. I'm not choosing Josh Jacobs.
Nope, I'm benching Jacobs there too. I've been low on him all year. I'm still low on him. Ravens run D, not a good spot.
All right, Cody Hoxie, Damian Harris or Mostert?
I'm going to go Mostert.
I'm probably going Mostert here.
Yeah, I love Harris. He's my high of the week, but I'm even higher on Mostert. The sports car against the number 1 team in terms of giving up points to running backs all day. He's going to rip at least 1 60-yard touchdown. Love it.
All right, we're up to 8:05, guys. Mitch Chavez. Stevenson was good in short yardage during preseason as well for New England. They let Michelle go. They've been an RBBC, running back by committee. What seems like every year in New England, I see Mike Davis against the crappy Eagles having a really good game myself too.
I don't hate it, but I'm telling you, they always bring rookies along slow. I think Harris is going to rip it this week.
Chillard said Harris is a great running back. Mac Jones is great for him. I do think you're right on both those things. This is when we were arguing about Harris. First name Jerry says Rondell Moore. Big day?
Could be. I'm not going to guarantee it by any means, but I'm excited. That's why he was a stash and see. I can't wait to see what he does, but I can't promise you a big day.
Chillard said Cam vultured 12 touchdowns last year.
As we talked about.
Can't argue with that, right? Ryan Hegarty, Marquez Callaway, Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, Jacoby Myers, 1 wide receiver, 1 flex. I think I'm going – I really like Myers, man.
I do too.
I'm
going Myers-Smith.
I think I'm going Myers. I think I'm going Myers. I guess I'm going Smith too, although Callaway tempts me. But
If it wasn't Jair Alexander, I'd probably say Callaway.
That's why I went with Smith.
That worries me. And Smith gets Atlanta, the easiest. So it's like the hardest matchup for Callaway and the easiest matchup for Smith. And then Myers I just love. So I'm going to go Myers and Smith there.
All right, 909 Orbits. Gus owner panicking here. Should I trade Ekeler or Thielen for Ekeler and Thielen for Tyreek Hill? My wide receivers are Cooper, Callaway, Visca, Pittman. My running backs Davis, Swift, Singletary, Gio, and Bell. PPR.
That's tough because your running backs aren't that good to make me feel comfortable in that move. But that being said, Ekeler, Thielen's too much because
Ekeler is like, man, if he's healthy, he's one of the real good ones.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
So no, I'm going. I'm holding there. Ekeler, Thielen. I'm staying there.
Let's see. Mitch says if Mac is chosen to start over a former MVP and Cam, what would stop Bill from giving Stevenson solid touches if he felt good enough to let Sony go? See, Mitch, I kind of that's kind of my hesitation on Harris in the first place is that I don't think there's anything to stop Belichick from doing anything.
So here's the deal though. You got a 4th rounder for Sony who's going to be leaving next year anyways. Like that was as good as you would ever dream to get. They probably were hoping for like a 7th and they got a 4th. So that's a no-brainer. I think that doesn't say much about sure, maybe a slight endorsement on Stevenson, but I think that was much bigger endorsement on Harris, who's been the guy all summer. He still is the guy. In close situations, he's going to be the guy. And I think Stevenson could get some late run. Harris is their starter. Harris is going to pound this team. Mitch, you have your doubts, bench him, but you're going to regret it.
We'll see. Chillard says they'll sign Geis or somebody in week 4 or 5 when that Henderson-Sony experiment fails.
We'll find out. Oh, apparently Chillard is my buddy Willard. He just texted me, goes, I put like 70 comments in here, so don't feel like you have to go to them all. So
appreciate it. But thank you for watching. Thank you for commenting. Stout said Giants need to bring back the greatest quarterback in history back, Fran Tarkenton. Check your records before they pussified the NFL. All right, that's our homework for the week. Labyrinth says, you two are a good combo. Thanks for the advice. Thanks for the kind words. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it.
And Chillard's commenting on some people. I think it's an interesting point. Like Davis is a 7th-year running back, never had 700 yards, but he also never had the opportunity. This will be a real last year, I guess he had some opportunity for a good portion of the season. Did he really not have 700 yards last year? I feel like he had at least that, but we'll find out. Let's get to Brody's question.
Brody Roberts says Sermon, Swift, or Antonio Brown in the flex.
I think you go AB versus Swift. I'm going to go Brown, especially if it's full PPR. I don't know what the settings are, but I'm going to go Brown. Swift would be the next man up, but I'm going to go Brown there.
Agreed. Labyrinth. Kenneth Gainwell being slept on hard.
Yeah, he could be. I like him a lot, but Scott's going to be the starter, at least early on. My man Ishmael, great to see you, brother. It's been a while. We got a text again. It's been great. I want to catch up with you soon, brother.
Ishmael says, sexy flexy, AB or Gallup tonight? AB, definitely.
AB. Give me AB all night. I'm facing him, and I hope it's Gallup is better, but I don't know that it will be.
Half PPR from Ugga Bulldog 1234. Half PPR Antonio Brown or Robbie Anderson. I'm still going Brown.
I'm going Anderson in that revenge game against the Jets, baby. I think Anderson has a big one coming up.
Chill it. Galladay, no, I want no part of the Giants passing attack until Jones shows something. Yeah, well, we both agree with you on that. Big Perm 33. Do I start Dak? Do I start Dak or Aaron Rodgers? I'd start Rodgers.
Rodgers, yeah. Give me Rodgers all day. I like Dak, but there's a lot of risk with him. I give me Rodgers, definitely.
We're down to about 10 minutes, guys. Julio Rodriguez, Terry, Amari, or Godwin? Standard league. Standard?
Ew. Gross. Give me Terry.
I think Terry, but what are you doing, man?
Get out of the standard league, but yeah, Terry there.
Mitch Chavez, be careful of those Vikings. That defense this year is much different. Having Hunter and Griffin back on that line and PP out there with Smith maybe sneakily a lot better than last year as they're struggling with so many opt-outs and injuries.
That could be. That's a good point, Mitch. The Vikings could be a lot better. They're one of my favorite late round draft defenses. So
they could.
I see what you're saying.
There's red flags with them too, though. I don't know. I'm iffy on the Vikings. No to 11. What's good, Wolf? What are your thoughts on Sermon? When do you think he'll break out?
I mean, he could have a really good week 1 game, but it still might not be enough for him to be a true breakout at that point. Against Detroit, I think he's going to get a lot of cleanup duty. That being said, I think it's going to take a motion injury for him to truly break out in 0-2.
Stop. Damn, I got Latavius Murray in the 19th round of this best ball draft. Can't believe he would be picked up by the Ravens or someone else needing a 1 or split guy.
Yeah, they wouldn't be picked up. So, yeah, there's a good chance he's going to land somewhere and might have a potential to start somewhere.
Rodney Davis, is Troutman worth a roster spot?
No.
Marlon King, Antonio Brown, or Mike Pittman Jr. I'm going Brown.
Give me A. Brown. And I like Pittman a lot. A decent matchup. And should be the guy with T.Y. Hilton out, but give me AB, no doubt.
Wolf and Truth, time to blow our loads from all this roster baiting after our draft. Should I play AB tonight or Damian Harris? That's an interesting one.
And it's PPR, so that does close the gap a little bit. But you know me, I love Harris tonight. I know Truth, you're probably going to say AB. I don't know. What do you think?
I'm going to say AB, but I understand why you would go Harris.
Yeah, I'm going Harris. And indeed, I'm going to be roster baiting real hard. I hope. We're going to find out, though.
We already know you're not wearing pants, dude.
No, they've been on.
Leoncio Acevedo, Monty, or Rojo? Monty.
Oh, Monty, no doubt. It's not a great matchup for Monty, but I don't want to trust a Bucs running back.
No, definitely not. Stout, every time I see this guy with the Wolf thinking he's Gronk, looks just like him.
Oh, that's you getting your little gas.
The Wolf hates
I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
Killer, Dak, Bucs running backs, Lamb, Gallup, AB.
I think he's answering some people's questions.
Oh, okay. All right. Eric Underwood, Boyd or Gallup? I like Boyd.
I like Boyd there too.
I have 30% Ertz and BB. Okay.
Go after it,
Mike Schneider. Hope to win that shirt. I hope you do too. But I hope 90 of you don't win. I just hope it's like 1 or 2. Mike Schneider, start 2. Mike Williams, Myers, Sermon, Terrace Marshall, half point.
I'm going to go Myers and Sermon myself. I think Sermon's going to have a nice second half against that team. I love Myers the most. Williams is too bim or bust in a tough matchup. And Marshall, I like Marshall a bit this week, but I'd like to wait and see if I can. I think it's either Sermon and Marshall. Like that's your debate right there. Myers is their lock. I like Sermon a little more than Marshall this week, but not a ton. What do you think, Truth?
I actually like Myers and Williams.
Oh, so you're bucking the Mike Williams trend. Okay. I like
Mike Williams, but Myers is the one I would definitely go with. Roland Arenjo, OBJ, Callaway, or Cooks for wide receiver 3. It'd be hard for me to not go OBJ here.
I'd go OBJ there. Yeah, Cooks is in a good matchup against Jacksonville, and they're going to have to chuck. But, yeah, I like OBJ. Haggerty said PPR, that's his scoring. Guess what? We just answered about 65 other questions, Hags, so I have no idea what you were actually asking. So if you want to ask it again, by all means, but, come on. You know better, Hags.
Anthony says Lamar on Monday night at Las Vegas or the GOAT tonight at home versus Dallas.
Oh, I've gotten that a few times.
You just switched these guys.
I just switched them to move Lamar up for Monday night. You get the Monday night hope factor. But I just also said Brady's going to throw 4 touchdowns, fella.
You did say that.
I don't think you can go wrong. But Lamar, with a Ravens, their Raiders secondary is horrible. So I'm going to go Lamar. Too much upside to bench, in my opinion. But 6-point passing TD does narrow the gap even further. Get Brady in there. Have some fucking fun.
You know you would start Brady.
Let's go with the GOAT.
Stop with the gaslighting. Guan Gleeshy, who gets the last flex spot? Devontae Parker or Mike Williams? I would go Williams.
It's Williams. Parker sucks.
Right. Sarah Riley. Hey, Sarah, she was listening to us all last year. It's the first time.
I remember. Good to see you again. Thank you.
Half point PPR. Jerry Judy, Sanders, Chenault, Ayuk. I need 2.
You always have the hardest questions because you always have great teams.
I know your teams. I remember she was just like every question she put out. I was like, man, I wish she had drafted for me.
I know. I'll go. I'm going to go Judy and I think Ayuk here. But it's not easy. That's not an easy one. And you can come back on Sunday for sure to check in more. But as of right now, I'm going to go Judy and Ayuk.
I'm going Judy and Ayuk also. Roland said Swift or Javonte Harris for running back 2. I would go Harris.
Damian Harris. But yes, I'm going Damian, no doubt.
What did I say?
Devontae.
Yeah, sorry about that. Francisco, thanks for the time and answering our questions. Enjoy the first night of football. Let's effing go. Yeah, man, you're welcome, and we hope you'll tune in again.
Hey, thanks for being here the whole show. First timer. Love that you made it all the way through all these hours. Like I saw your questions, Francisco's not going to be here to get our answers. And here you fucking are, Francisco. Let's fucking go indeed. Thank you so much for being here. Hit that subscribe and bell if you want to continue to get our shows. You seem like a real one, Francisco.
Yeah, man, come back again. We're happy to answer your questions. Roland, Swift or Damian Harris? We already answered that one.
We answered that one, Damian, for sure.
My God, Denny Jennings.
A Denny Jennings slightly. I like it.
Good evening, fellas. Haven't been on lately. Been a rough year with the passing of my dad and my father-in-law.
Denny, so sorry, brother.
Anyway, pick one. Half point PPR, Callaway, Landry, or Fournette. I probably would go Callaway.
I'm going Callaway there, the highest upside. But Denny, so sorry for that news.
Yeah, man.
Tough year for you. But so happy you're here to spend some time with us. Hopefully
we've
been kind of bring some stuff to cheer you up.
We've talked about you when you weren't here, man, and then said we hope
we
you're
talked about
okay,
missing you, and we're just happy to see your face, brother. I hope we can cheer you up a little bit. That's tough news. Sorry to hear it, man, and great to see you.
Your face, or in this case, the Phillies logo.
The Phillies logo, yeah.
Mitch Chavez, let's have a great season, Wolves. Thanks, Wolf and Truth. No problem, Mitch.
Thank you, Mitch.
Again. No Thursday guys in the flex. Anthony
it's a great reminder. Great reminder. Do not, if you're starting a Thursday guy, put him at receiver, put him at running back, not in your flex.
That's a good point. Brody Roberts, thanks, guys. Good luck this season. Look forward to the videos.
Look forward to having you along, brother.
721, would you bench Montgomery for Harris, Gaskin, or Mike Davis? Standard scoring. I might bench him for Harris.
Me as well. He's going to score 2 touchdowns. I'm telling you, Harris is going to have a big week this week.
Dude, we're going to finish this bag here. Katie Jiggs. Welcome back, fellas. Missed you. Bummer on Gus, full PPR flex. Chase, Mike Williams, or T. Williams?
I don't know if T. Williams is Tyson Williams or if it's Tyrell Williams. So that makes it complicated. But either way, I think I'm going to go Chase. If it is Tyson Williams, we'll wait and see. This one's a wait and see anyways because it's going to be on Sunday. We know, Katie Jiggs, you'll be there. But for right now, I'm leaning Chase.
Mike Schneider says Gus and Peters had their test confirmed. They both tore their ACLs. Well, we thought that anyway, but I'm still sorry to hear it.
That sucks.
Omar, well, I decided to bench AB. I have him in 2 other lineups already, plus I have Ty Williams. I might play over Harris. Anyway, love the show as always, guys. Thanks a bunch.
Thanks so much, Omar. We really appreciate it. I hope benching AB is a good decision because I'm facing him in a couple leagues. I hope he sucks to high heavens. But either way, thank you so much for being
Charlie Krebs, would y'all drop Boston Scott for Terrace Marshall?
Yep. Unless you really need the running back help, absolutely. Not
Probably
even a second hesitation there.
And last but definitely not least, Denny says, you guys cheer me up. Thanks for all the insight. Love you, brothers. Man, thanks a lot. It means the world that you're back. Hope we see you again next Thursday. Hope the Wolf sees you on Sunday. Anyway, hang in there, bud. Try to lose yourself in the fantasy season. You know what
Sunday recap too, Truth. Maybe you'll see him too. We love you
too.
Right.
Yeah, I'm also good. By the way, I will be with the Wolf on Sunday after the games, the post Red Zone show, just like we did all last year. The Wolf and CJ are going to be previewing the matchups on Sunday, doing a lot of mailbag stuff like that. But yeah, I'll be with the Wolf 7-ish Sunday evening. So hopefully we'll see you then, bud.
Yeah. And again, Denny, so sorry for that very just awful news, but so happy to see you. So happy to hear from you. And we love you too. No doubt about it, man. You're a true OG. Good luck to you as well, Schneider.
Yeah, man.
And best of luck to everybody. Don't forget about the contest. If you haven't gotten in, we got a few more minutes left. So go get that on. And all our content, RoseReedJournal.com. We breed and feed you fantasy wolves. Best of luck to everybody except those of you starting AB, even though we recommended him. I hope he sucks, which I know is selfish of me, but I need Mike Evans to at least smash him in the face. Y'all the best. Thank you, Charlie. You're the best too. You can find all again at RoseReedJournal.com. Fantasy fullback dad. We pave your path to 21 titles. Thanks again for everyone being here. Thank you, Chillard, for such great interaction all time. Mitch is cheered on AB, but I say fuck off. No AB. You guys are the best, Wolfpack. We cannot wait to see you. I'll have a DFS show on Saturday, most likely. And then also Sunday, 11 a.m., sit start show to round this out, to recap this action. You guys are the best. Have a great rest of your night. Good luck, everybody. And we'll see you on Sunday. I'm the Wolf.
I'm the Truth.
World full of fantasy sheep. Be the Wolf, guys. Later.
Later.